A Monster's Love. Copyright 2014. Scaldabanco Publishing. Written by Theron D. Ledford. Illustrations by the McSky, Lozano, and Atta. For the Creator speaks in one way, and in two, though people do not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on mortals, while they slumber on their beds, then he opens their ears and terrifies them with warnings, that he may turn them aside from their deeds, to spare their souls from the pit. Elihu, son of Barachel the Buzite, 6th to 5th century BC. In the vast emptiness of the universe, beyond all space and time, there exists a world where justice and peace were nothing more than a forgotten memory from days long past. It was a nightmare of a place, born from the fires of adversity when the ancient inhabitants took up arms against the ruling class so that they could be free to be their own gods and live their lives as they saw fit. This would lead to their ultimate destruction, as they were forced to live in a fallen world ravaged by wars, pain, and suffering by their own rebellious doings. But despite all of these hardships and warnings, their selfish hearts still reigned supreme. Truth was lost to the ages. It was a harsh realm inhabited with monsters that ruled the land. These hideous monstrosities filled the gap of vacated love in their lives with pleasures of every kind, no matter how foul or wretched it was, and it felt good. But this peace was temporal and fulfilling their individual passions, thus driving the inhabitants deeper into even more grotesque and unimaginable horrors, ultimately leading them to a horrific eternal judgment. This was their fate. However, not every monster wanted to accept this horrible destiny. In a land far from his home there wandered a lonesome wilder beast. He was from a region known for its non-white sistrums, but even music could not calm his soul. He left home looking for answers in the world or his unfulfilled life. Traveling down a lonely road in a world torn asunder, he followed the beaten path. Although years of searching produced an endless defeat, a compelling force from within kept pulling him through his exhaustion in a never-ending pursuit. It was one twilight evening that he finally succumbed to his fears of a meaningless life. Collapsing in exhaustion and frustration, the monster was ready to accept the fate of the other inhabitants of his world. Over time and through each step of the way, he had grown weary in his quest. He rationalized that there was nothing more out there than an empty hope, a fantasy, a belief into a non-existent reality. That's when the rains came to add to his misery. A dark and terribly strange storm began to blow suddenly from the east. The pounding rains and winds blinded his vision, and he was forced off the beaten path down a road less traveled, into a region deserted long, long ago. Heading deeper into a hidden valley, the monster stumbled along his way on that road. He eventually came upon an old abandoned house in which to find shelter from the rain. As the blue clouds swirled over the surrounding hills, the storm showed no compassion of letting up as it unleashed its fury across the land. The monster sought comfort within the walls of the house with its tall, decaying, steep, leaning tower that rose above the barren landscape. Drenched and soaked to the core, the monster entered the refuge. As the storm raged outside, he cursed his bad luck from taking him off his path. As he tried to start a fire, the howling winds forced its way through the open crevices of the walls surrounding him and made his attempts futile. He sat huddled in the corner of the darkness and shivered, howling for comfort and cursing his forsaken life. But the discomfort began to drive him to seek higher ground and its promising warmth. He climbed the rickety stairs to the tower above. His discomfort soon receded. He started another fire in the slightly warmer atmosphere, and when he was comfortable, he began to explore his surroundings. As he stumbled around in the dark, his shoulder brushed against a tall shelf that came crashing to the floor. A box fell from the top and spilled its contents to the ground. A large old book from ancient days lay at his feet. In curiosity, he picked up the book and blew off the dust. In the dim light, as the storm kept him at bay, he read from the book throughout the night. He was not aware that the words he read were of a great and mighty power. As the monster read the text of days long past and the truth of his world, the words began to penetrate his heart and transform his mind. He read of the Ancient of Days when peace and love ruled the land. He read about the lies, deceit, and sins of his fathers. He believed into the text, accepted the truth from within, and finally felt free from his lifelong misery. But as the rains continued to keep him sheltered on that cold night, he was given time to study deeper into the text. The more he studied the book, the more his inner desires were awakened to reality. A fierce battle soon raged inside. When he succumbed to his selfish desires, his heart felt strangely warmed. And in the first light of a new day, as the rays flooded into the room, they pierced the monster's heart, causing him to be transformed. He became a new creature reborn from a fallen nature. He was no longer a captive, but a prisoner sprung free from the chains of pain, chaos, and loneliness. For the first time in his life, he felt purpose. His appearance changed from the inside outward. He no longer felt like a wretched old man, but like a new child of the universe. He had powers beyond believability and a deep knowledge of the meaning of existence. He was free from the deceit of the past that weighed him down. His soul could not contain all the love that he felt inside. It was a strange feeling. He felt unbound to the selfishness from within. It would be hard for his world to understand because they had lived in their ways for so long. As he left that old abandoned building to go home, he began to whistle a new tune with an added skip to his step. The love inside of him swelled over the days as he grew more connected to the truth that he found inside an old mystical book, transcribed by hands unknown to him. What grand mysteries did those lost pages contain? He knew that he could not keep these things to himself. His heart desired to share his discovery with his fellow monsters. Back on the beaten path, he traveled back through desolate valleys, isolated townships, and dark, eerie forests. He looked not the right, nor the left, but his eyes were constantly facing forward to the task at hand. Caring not that he went against the very grain of his society, he spread the message of the great manuscript along the way. He made many believe in something greater and gave hope of hanging their dying world, but none were transformed. Some followed him while others ran and hid in the hills in fear of the book's sinister transforming power. Strange glares and silent taunting mocked him as he followed the path towards the setting sun. He could not contain the power and excitement of his discovery. The words had equipped him with powers beyond common perception. He was empowered to proclaim and do mighty works. He pressed on through danger and strife. Through time, he reached his great city on the hill. The truth could not be hidden anymore, he thought as he boldly raced to the center of town to share his discovery that was once lost long ago. Crowds gathered in shock and awe to listen. Even the rulers of the day, those mighty monsters of power and strength, soon came as well and gathered around him to hear what he had to say. They wanted to see for themselves if the rumors they heard were true. The man spoke of truth, love, empowerment, redemption, peace, and transformation. He proclaimed these things loudly to give sight to the blind, for them to see what was once hidden, to feel and experience what he had felt, to be free from all corruption that imprisoned everyone in this world. He spoke with love in his eyes. Though their hearts were troubled, the price was too high for a few, many did not believe, and the rest were deceived in their own righteousness. They soon did not want to hear any longer what this strange creature had to say to them. Their inquisitive minds turned to anger, anger then turned into hate. What was wrong to them was right, and what was right was wrong. The ancient evil that was born within each living creature began to rise up and in one unified chant cried out the truth as they saw it in a single expression of hate. For as he shared his love, they saw him as a hideous fiend that had no place in their world. He was not and no longer like them, for he was a monster.
Monster! Monster!
He did not hear the roar of the crowds that gathered around him, nor the elder beasts that cursed the ground he walked upon, whom had secretly stirred up the riots to preserve their power. The monsters continued to cry out even louder in horror and alarm. Their rage intensified until they dragged the man through the city streets to the cliffs on the outskirts of town. But the man did not whimper nor despair, but cried out through tears more compassionately for them to listen to him. But they did not listen and hurled the man they deemed a monster to the deep depths below to perish forever from their memories, thus accepting their pending doom because they would not be changed. As he fell to his death, The great book that was once lost slipped from his hands and drifted into the wind, only to be lost once again forever to the ages. Whatever glimmer of light he brought to the world, it was quickly diminished. There was now no one to carry the message on. The truth that had been suppressed for so long was shared in love from his heart until his last dying breath, so that they may believe. Death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? And the wicked shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal. For the corruptible must put on incorruption, and the mortal must put on immortality. For unless one is born again, they cannot see eternal life. The dark world was once again without hope. Or was it? What was that strange book that could transform the life of one who reads it? If you ever found this lost book from ancient past, would you read and believe into it too, being transformed by its mighty power? Would you share what you discovered from its pages with the world? For you see, my friend, I write to you out of the wonders I have experienced, things that I have seen, and nightmares that have woken me from a deep sleep. How? Can I keep it to myself? This is more than an allegory or a tale of morality. This is a story that is timeless and cannot ever be forgotten. This is a story about you. In the beginning, the author of life created humanity in his own image. He was alone. He wanted a family to share the wonders of his creation and to be loved freely. Through free will, humanity was formed. However, humans were not, nor could ever be gods themselves. There was still a separation. That void grew even greater as humanity sinned to be its own god. As punishment, they were cast out of paradise as survivors into a harsh realm. The Creator allowed it to happen to not only show that He would take what was wrong and always make it better, but so that He could get closer to His creation while demonstrating true love. Through His Son that He sent to earth, He became us to know us. His Son's sinless victory and sacrifice filled the gap between creation and Creator, thus making humanity blood relation/heirs to the Creator. Due to the fall, humanity gained the right to be their own temporal gods, born to do evil. The enemy of God wants absolute victory and focuses his attack on that truth. But a decision to follow that path means one cannot reign forever with the Creator in eternity. We decide where we want to spend eternity, with the Creator or where the Creator is not, hell. Humanity must either accept and live in the truth of God or reject it. The acceptance of the Creator's Son, holy living and doing good works, leads humanity home. All these things are recorded in the great manuscript that He gave to teach, empower, transform, and instruct us. His Son is that living Word. How can we really love if we do not read nor proclaim? From the greatest book of love ever known to humanity? In a world somewhere in the dark corners of the universe, good versus evil battles for dominion. The world may be ending, but in its aftermath love is beginning. Will you be the one to keep the flames of truth burning in this dying world? You have the weapon and knowledge to give light. Now fight. This has been a presentation of Scaldabanca Publishing. Visit www.holinessrevival.com for more information.